highway to the feeble zone. Gonna take the highway to the feeble zone. Runners on base, nobody's gonna score. All we're gonna do is launch and lunge and go 0 for 4. We're gonna take the highway to the feeble zone. We're gonna take the highway to the feeble zone.
So
I literally thought that up just as we were hitting record.
Barstool units,
episode 34.
All right, we're getting better at that. Episode 34, live from New York. Live from New Jersey, actually. Frank the Tank is with me as always. I'm Coach Doug's, and I hate to do this to you, Frank, but I mean we always start the same way. It just happens that the timing of this is not great. How you doing?
You know, it just the failures of this team are almost awe-inspiring.
Yeah,
awe-inspiring.
Another one-loss run, or another one-run loss.
They scored 2 runs in the first inning. Cardinals tied it. Then they loaded the bases and only got 1 run. Naturally. Of course, I actually didn't watch it for a couple of hours. I was watching something much better.
Oh, yeah?
I'll get to that in a minute. So, what was much better ended. And the first thing I see is that Jerry's Familia, for his 3rd straight outing, has given up a home run that has either tied the game or put the Mets behind. And yet he keeps going out there with his stupid song. Dun 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 dun. Ay, familia. Ay. He wasn't using that song earlier in the year. And since he brought that song back, he's fucking sucked. As much as that fucking song sucks. I mean, it just goes. Hi, familia, non familia. I really did. I actually got the translation of the song. I really do suck. I don't know why I'm coming in. The manager's stupid, but my name is Familia. I'm gonna give up a bunch of runs because I'm Jerry Familia. When I'm in the game, it sells disaster. He really is like Aaron Heilman.
That's very specific. Did you get that off Google Translate?
Yes, I did. And he's like another Aaron Heilman.
Of course. I know who that is.
Yeah. Gave up the 2-run homer to Yadier Molina in Game 7 of the 2006 NLCS. Gave up back-to-back homers in the 9th inning of the final game at Chase Stadium. And then it was almost like I'm gonna take a Met lead and it's gonna be gone. When I come in the game, it's gonna be a loss. I'm gonna turn a win and make it a Mets loss. That's why everyone is gonna be dressed in black. It's gonna be a funeral. Oh, the Mets in black. I'm gonna take a Met lead and give it back. I'm gonna make it go away. That's why I come in every day.
Frank, we're 4.5 minutes in, and I think we've had 4 full songs now. We're like a song a minute right now.
Because that's how fucking pissed off I am. I sing when I'm fucking pissed off like this.
Really? See, I sing when I'm happy.
Well, I sing when I'm angry.
Yeah. We'd make a heck of a barbershop quartet. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that the Mets are now 6 games back, 7. No, well, I guess everybody else lost, so are they still 5.5? Is that how that works?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
They could have actually been 2.5 out of the wild card.
Yeah.
But nope. And then they are now 2 games under 500. They're gonna have for the 10th time in 13 years, they're gonna have a losing record. And the manager is gonna keep his fucking job. This fucking goddamn fucking moron. This fucking clueless fucking piece of shit. Like who manages with the intensity of fucking spring training.
What percentage do you give, like legit, like what percentage do you give that Rojas gets retained?
95%.
Really?
Yes.
That's not your hatred talking.
No.
Really you think Cohen will keep him?
Because nothing ever fucking changes.
So if Rojas is not gone next year, like is that just the ultimate sign that nothing has changed?
Yeah, that's still a Wilpon operation.
Yeah. Well,
the Mets right now have a team president who's only got the job because no one else will take the job, and Major League Baseball wanted someone in there to mind the store to keep tabs on Cohen so he wouldn't spend crazy. That's
really?
Sandy Alderson, who was the Mets general manager from 2011 through 2018, because he was formerly in Major League Baseball, and he kept an eye on the Wilpons because of the Ponzi scheme to make sure
they spend enough,
that they didn't just completely turn it into a shit show.
Yeah. So
Sandy Alderson turned it into a shit show.
Did the MLB send him in before Madoff got caught? Like they knew what was happening?
After.
Yeah, after. Okay. It sounded like the MLB might be.
He actually built the A's teams of the late 80s, early 90s.
Alderman.
Yeah, Alderson.
And so
then he became a mentor to Billy Beane. Billy Beane replaced him, and he took a job in Major League Baseball.
And so you're saying that MLB sent him to the Mets to make sure it says keep tabs on Cohen to make sure Cohen didn't spend a lot?
Yeah.
And that was the fear. That's why it took. Well, that was why people were concerned about Cohen coming in, was that they were going to spend all the money.
Yeah.
Because there's no salary cap, right? Or no, there's a luxury tax, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he was brought in to keep his last hire, his previous turn year at the Mets, before he had to resign because he had cancer, was Dick Pick Mick, taking over as manager in 2019.
Yeah, the pervert.
Yeah, he took over manager in 2018. Dick Pick Mick. His first hire in his second go-around with the Mets was Jarrett Porter, who, what does he have in common with Mickey Callaway? Oh yeah, that's right. He likes to send dick pics. Yeah,
that's an odd common theme.
And this guy is going to be still in charge. His son, because the backup general manager got a DUI last week.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have Sandy's son taking over. So it's going to be all Wilpons all the time. And Luis Rojas is only the manager because they hired Carlos Beltran, who ended up having a lot of that Astros stink on him and ended up being the only person really punished by the Astros scandal.
Yeah. He had to sit out a year, right?
What?
He had to sit out a year?
No.
That wasn't him?
He was still a player in 2018.
Oh, gotcha.
He was still a player with the Astros. So he went unpunished. So he got a managerial job at the Mets. And they found out that since he spent a lot of time on the bench, he was heavily involved in the sign stealing.
Yeah. Alleged.
No, not alleged. Actual.
Yeah.
So the Mets succumbed to pressure and named Luis Rojas, who was on the coaching staff, as a quality control coach after being a minor league instructor for 10 years.
Talk about following up. So right place, right time, and he was on the coaching staff, and so they moved him up to manager?
Yep. So they have a GM that's a backup plan. They have a manager that's a backup plan. They have a president that's a backup plan, and they expect this all to work?
I guess it could, but you shouldn't expect it, right? Well,
how about hiring a real fucking manager?
Yeah.
Bringing in a real general manager and really building a team. And meanwhile, they're going to keep you.
Who would you like to see the Mets bring in as a manager? Someone that's available, or have them take from another team? Who would you like?
Well, I got a list.
Frank, could you be the new GM of the New York Mets?
I would make a run at Bruce Bochy, see if he could talk him out of retirement.
Yeah.
If that falls through, maybe Mike Scioscia.
All right.
If not Mike Scioscia, John Gibbons.
I love that you have a list, Frank. I mean,
and if they want to bring in someone young who's never managed before, but has good coaching experience, the people who coach under Tony La Russa end up usually being pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Joe McEwing.
You know who has some coaching experience? Chipper Jones. I'm sorry, Frank. I was just we've been talking about the Mets for 11 minutes, and I myself is also getting depressed.
Well, there was actually something I watched that wasn't too depressing about the Mets today.
Yeah.
And it's why I missed 2 hours of the game.
They were a good 2 hours?
They were a good 2 hours. And there's going to be another good 2 hours tomorrow.
You going to rewatch it?
No. Part one and part two were on tonight. And part 3 and part 4 are on tomorrow.
Wow. And so what did they get like to the All-Star break?
Pretty much, just a little bit after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
They got to what was the last thing they were talking about? They were talking about the arrest in Houston and the bench clearing brawl after the arrest in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which was the Mets' 4th bench clearing brawl of that season.
Yeah, that's 86 Mets. 86 Mets, right?
Yep.
They were the real bad boys of the 80s.
Oh, they're going on with stories that basically that besides that one plane trip, there were always bad things happening on that plane.
Yeah.
There were players that they were doing all sorts of drugs.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah, we ran into that sign in Chicago, and I made sure to say, this is not it was not a say no to drugs sign. The sign didn't say no to drugs. It said it's okay to say no.
And
I love that. That makes a difference.
And basically, Dallas Strawberry and Lenny Dykstra and the Mets said every time the wheels landed in another city, this says we're here to steal your liquor and fuck your women. And then we're
that would be a Barstool shirt for sure.
Yeah, the 86 Mets. They when they landed in a town, it was we're here to steal your liquor, fuck your women, and kick your ass.
I feel like that is a Stu. I would expect nothing less from Stu Feiner to say that.
I mean that was like the 86 Mets philosophy.
Hey, listen, that's a hell of a philosophy. I mean,
the only player I could actually see fitting on the 86 Mets is Baez because of how just insane he plays.
Yeah.
And he actually hit a game-tying home run in the 9th inning tonight.
Yeah.
Of course, the Mets had a chance to win the game in the 10th inning and hit into a 3-2-5 double play with a runner on third.
That's unfortunate.
That's because they don't do anything different. They just pull. They just try to pull the ball. They don't think about trying to hit the ball the other way or make good contact. They just take the same swing every at bat. They don't go at bat to at bat. And then who does Luis Rojas, the thunderhead, the dumbest motherfucker on the fucking planet? Do you remember Homer Simpson's brain? It was like a monkey going like this. That's what's going on in fucking Luis Rojas' head. He brought, I guess apparently Seth Lugo wasn't available tonight. Why else wouldn't he pitch the 11th inning?
Yeah.
Seriously, why else wouldn't Luis Rojas pitch the 11th inning? Why would you bring in Jake Reed, who hasn't pitched in 2 months and just getting off the injured list. And then he brings out Trevor Williams to mop up. And, of course, Trevor Williams did a good job. But the damage was done because Jake Reed allowed 3 runs, and the Mets scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 11th because why not?
You gotta make it a 1-run game.
And this manager is going to come out here and say that we battled tonight. We battled tonight. I love that Cardinal organization. We got to give everyone a chance to pitch. If I ran baseball the right way, I'd have everyone play every game. Because that's how you play. Everyone participates. It's not as matter if you're winning or losing. It just matters that you're participating.
Everyone's having fun.
I don't want a World Series trophy. I think a participation trophy is much better than a winning trophy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the World Series trophy really is just like a piece of metal, right?
I mean, Luis Rojas really is the participation trophy manager.
Well, let's hope next season's better. The good news is, Frank, it's almost October, and so you won't have to worry about watching the Mets that much longer. It's football. Let's talk about something good. The Dolphins won. Not only did the Dolphins win, they beat the Patriots.
Well, it was a good win. Of course, it was a tight win. You see, here's the difference between the Mets and the Dolphins. The Mets lose games they should win. The Dolphins win games they should lose. And you know why that is?
No.
Because the Dolphins have a coach that knows the difference between his ass and a hole in the ground. Well, the Dolphins have a coach that actually has a fucking functioning brain.
I'm glad that you have a coach that you believe in and that you're confident in. I wish I had the same for college and NFL. After the Notre Dame game, I was content. I was happy with where the FSU team was going, and then they lose to Jacksonville State on a last minute. It wasn't even a Hail Mary. It was just regular pass play. That's what really gets me is like those little things where if it's it was last play of the game, clock hits 0, the other team, the opposing team has to score a touchdown, and you're not in cover 4, like you're not in protection, like what you're just playing like it's a normal play. What do we do? That tells me that the coach doesn't know what they're doing. I can't have any faith in a coach, and it might have been it was the defense coordinator Norvell. I don't know whose call it was, but if that's your decision in that play, I have no faith in you, because it doesn't matter how good the talent is on the field. If that's the play you're calling, I have no faith in you. So at least you have faith in a coach. And then there was the proposal afterwards. I'm torn on the proposal. I reached out to the player, I invited him onto the show. He said he's not doing interviews, but he was happy with what he did. He's got a fiance, he's in love, and he's got a fiance. He's engaged to be married. Nobody can really take that away from him. The optics were not great though. With the picture,
the optics were terrible.
The video, I think, okay, so obviously everyone saw the picture first. The video came out later on. When you watch the video and you see him and his fiance celebrating and like the whole family's there and everything, it kind of takes you out of the whole football mood and puts you in a good mood. Like, oh, hey, these two people are in love. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was just bad timing. It was just.
Yeah, well, listen, if they would have won, nobody would have said anything. So if they would have won, some people might have said, hey, you almost lost to Jacksonville State. I could definitely see some people saying that. I don't believe I would have, but yeah, the optics weren't great. He said, his family was in town, her family was in town, and so obviously, if everyone's thinking, hey, do it another time, that's not so simple.
It probably wasn't feasible to do it another time.
Exactly, and that's the word that I got when I reached out to him. So, it didn't look good. And it definitely didn't look good that we had a Barstool article calling it the worst proposal ever, and he's a Barstool athlete. However, even if he wasn't a Barstool athlete, that's not. I don't think Barstool.
Well, we can't You see, that's going to be the difference between about Barstool athletes. We have to still call it as we see it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. And if that was, there was a lot of FSU fans giving us crap, talking about Barstool, about and they did it to a Barstool athlete, he's in love and all this. It's like, we're a comedy site. Oh no, the comedy website made the joke website made a joke. It was Danny Cannell even said, "Are you serious?" Like, there were multiple FSU alum, like FSU football alum, who thought it was crazy. There were comedians, I think Bill Burr said, call an audible, do it another time. So it's not like it was a bad take. So we were getting a bad rap. Again, I think those FSU fans that were calling him out, if that was a Florida player, if that was a UF player, and that was like right after the Georgia Southern loss, when they lost to Georgia Southern without even completing a pass, then I think those fans would think it's funny. So, it's people trying to take something too serious. But anyway, best of luck to him. His registry, he tweeted out the registry and invited us to the wedding, on Twitter. So, or at least he asked us if we wanted to be invited to the wedding. So best of luck to him. But I don't really think I have any faith in the FSU football team this season. Which is a real high from barely losing to Notre Dame.
Well, look at Notre Dame; they barely beat Toledo.
I know they. Well, listen, hey, I told you I didn't take the bet because we were recording in New York. I wish I would have taken that bet, because the spread was like 17 points.
Yeah, I wasn't comfortable with that spread.
Yeah. Well, Notre Dame is 0-2 ATS ADT.
Yeah, well, they're lucky not to be 0-2, period.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the execution of Brian Kelly hasn't exactly been well this year.
But I am in favor of it.
Speaking of execution, Peacock, what a fucking clusterfuck that was.
Yeah, I wasn't watching it, but I from wrestling, from all the WWE stuff I heard, and now Notre Dame, it seems like Peacock just is not a good service.
No, it's not. I mean, it took me to like the late third quarter, early fourth quarter to finally get the game to come up for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't home. I was traveling on the New York City subway system.
Yeah.
So maybe that was part of the complication.
I don't think so. I saw a lot of other people complaining about it as well. And I mean,
Drew Brees exactly needs to work on his game.
Yeah.
He called a fumble a bumble.
Maybe that's a cute word he calls fumbles. Maybe for Nickelodeon.
And he referred to Notre Dame as pulling away when they had scored a touchdown to take an 8-point lead.
Yeah, maybe in the old days, not this year's Notre Dame.
You don't. No. Pulling away is when you go up by 2 scores, not 1.
I would even say more than that. I would say even like 14 points. There's still like that's not that big of a deficit. I mean, 18 points wasn't that big of a deficit.
I mean, it was a fourth quarter game there, right around the fourth quarter when Notre Dame went up by 8, but that's not pulling away, Drew.
No, it's not.
That's the next drive could tie the game, Drew.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that kind of died down the whole. I didn't hear many people talking about the execution thing that much longer. I think especially in today's 24-hour news cycle, I think everybody laughs about it. They understand what
it was dumb.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, Notre Dame. I tell you what, 0-2 against Doug's teams, against the spread.
Well, now it's Purdue.
Now, do you still now Chief thinks they're going to go undefeated? Do you think they're going to go undefeated?
No.
Well, hopefully they'll get their situation figured out. Yeah, Peacock just doesn't seem to be that great. They just, maybe Notre Dame needs to just go ahead and make the switch to ACC full time. Football included.
It's that contract with NBC that really prevents them from going ACC full time.
Yeah. Oh, Well, I love how Peacock came out and said, we understand that there were situations, but now it's, now the game is up, and fully viewable. It's like, it's after the game's already been played. Like, yes, if I want to rewatch it, that'd be fantastic for it to be on the server. But the idea of, hey, this live event that you wanted to watch, even though it's already happened, it's still available. It's like, I wanted to watch it live. Like that, it's just when that's their communication, it's not a good look. Not a good look.
Yeah, well, no, and it failed miserably. And this is, I don't watch wrestling, but
yeah, I'm not that big into it, but I used to be all about it. WCW, NWO, that was the Attitude Era. That was when I really started watching it. And I think I don't know. I was a different person back then. I think I've calmed down a lot lately, but I don't know. Lately, I've just been feeling like, I don't know. Think little things happen where I used to not want to complain. And I mean, my life's pretty good, so it's difficult for me to complain. But like I'm in the Meadowlands right now. I'm in a extended stay kind of hotel, and I haven't had hot water for 2 days. The washer, I went to wash my clothes, and like the washer just filled with water and then drained. It didn't actually wash, so I just had I had to rewash everything because they were just soaking wet, dirty clothes. The internet goes in and out. It's actually doing pretty well right now. But I was downstairs, like this old man is complaining, and he's complaining to a girl behind the counter late last night who clearly, like, he's complaining about the internet. And it's like, she doesn't know like what's going on with the internet. Like, she's not an IT tech person. She's behind the desk of a hotel, like trying to check people in. So I never want to be that guy complaining to someone who obviously has no say or anything. But no hot water for 2 days. I feel like that might be an issue. I might need to find another place. Little things like that, right? I feel like maybe it's okay to have an attitude, with those kind of things. I don't know. Maybe I'll bring back the Attitude Era. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Maybe you can find something there or something like that. I'm surprised a hotel at the Meadowlands would be that shitty.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's in like an extended stay hotel kind of place. So
yeah, but I would expect that to be better, especially that it's a branded name.
Yeah, what can you do? But I don't want to be that guy that complains. So I don't know. But then again, I'm not going to go out there and like, I'm not going to pull a wrestling move on him or anything. I just, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm enjoying my time in Jersey. KFC Radio is going to be live in Caroline's tomorrow, so I'm going to that.
That sounds mighty fun.
Yeah. Are you going to any Mets games this week?
I'm going to Saturday night game.
You're going to Saturday night? Now, are you still doing that doubleheader that you talked about?
Unless you want to do it, no.
Yeah, I don't. That's just. I think that might be too much for me, especially with what we have planned for next week.
We just have to find a way to get you to a Yankee game before the year's over.
Yeah, we're shipping up to Boston, Frank.
That we are.
Units are headed to Boston.
Boston, oh, units in Boston.
Oh, I haven't been. I went for St. Patrick's Day in 2017. So it's been a few years, but I'm excited. We're gonna meet up with Vindog. We're gonna check out his baseball glove collection. Gonna meet up with Jared Carabas. We're gonna go to a Red Sox Mets game. Obviously, raw dog and there and back. Maybe do a basketball Hall of Fame tour. Putt along the way.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening, knows any places in New England where I can go raw dogging,
yeah,
drop us a couple of spots.
This is the time. Yeah. So leave a comment and subscribe and all that. And Frank will remind you that. But speaking of comments, we may have a major breakthrough in the troll hunt investigation. It's not really an investigation. We're kind of just following along. So we possibly know the true identity of like a major YouTube troll who just trolls your YouTube account. Obviously, we're not going to say his real name or the alleged identity of his real name, but there's somebody who leaves a comment who has named the person, named that they live in Buffalo, like given their address, and the name that they gave, you recognize.
I saw that name years ago in my past.
Yeah.
And if this really is this guy, then he truly is the most pathetic man on the planet.
So you told me the story earlier, 2003. So like 18 years ago.
Yep.
You were in a hockey fantasy league.
Yep.
On a message board. Like this is early internet. That's how long ago this was.
Yes.
This was like message boards.
Yes, a message board fantasy league.
Before podcasts were a thing.
Yep.
And you were in a hockey fantasy league on this message board.
Yeah.
And the commissioner of this hockey league somehow figured out the code or figured out something with the website on the message board to change scores of hockey games, like as far as like points go. Is that right? Yeah.
That basically he would, like if he was playing somebody, he would like bench their goalie the night before. And then or take a player off his bench that scored 2 goals and put him on his starting lineup, and he found a way to hack the code to do it.
So he was manipulating that in order for him to win.
And like multiple people called him, and finally, he was voted out of the league. I was made the commissioner, and he blamed me.
Yeah, that's just it's so. And somebody asked earlier, I didn't know the answer, but was that a money league or was that just a fun league to be in?
That was a fun league. It was like. Fuck, it might have been goddamn fucking Alta Vista for all I fucking know.
And so in 2003, you were in a message board hockey fantasy league, and this guy was cheating at that.
Yes.
With nothing to win whatsoever. That reminds me of like, I don't think it was the Boston Marathon, but you know those like marathon runners who like will basically just like take a cab or something. Or
you're talking about the Richard McCaw.
I remember a lady.
This is the ballad of Rosie Ruiz, the woman who won the Boston Marathon with ease. Didn't break a sweat at all. She was finishing faster than anyone ever had saw. She was going too fast, you see. No one saw her on the course for Rosie Ruiz. But on the subway she was on. Her scheme blew up in her face. A big disgrace. That's the story of a Rosie Ruiz.
And so that's who I'm referring to. Yeah. So like I'm so intrigued by this type of person who would do this because it's like cheating in solitaire. It's like solitaire is a one-person game. It would be like cheating in solitaire where like the whole point of like winning, like you want the acclaim of winning a marathon, but you know you didn't do it. I don't the disconnect there. So
I mean the Rosie Ruiz story is so comical.
It's just
like, she basically ran a mile, fell back to the back of the pack, fiddled around for about an hour. Was on the Boston subway system. Came out like about 2 miles before the end of the race.
Yeah.
Where she's like, where the men are basically finishing.
Yeah.
And was basically running alongside the men. And was like all the other women were like 20, 30 minutes behind her. And nobody ever saw her on the course. Nobody ever saw her go by. It's like, it fell apart like after a couple of days. It was like, and everyone just put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And realized that she had and then someone said that, wait a second, I saw her on the subway.
Can you imagine you ride the subway one day and then the next day you're looking at a picture in the newspaper, you're like, wait, I saw her on the L train. Like what or whatever they have in Boston, whatever the names are. Like I saw her on the Blue Line. But yeah, so that's basically that's a possibility of who we're dealing with in this YouTube troll.
And the fact that it's 18 years later. 18 years later. Think about this. And it wasn't the 2003-2004 season. I'm talking the 2002-2003 season.
Basically, if you had a kid then, you would no longer be legally responsible for that. That kid could be serving his country right now.
If that man had a kid the day he was caught cheating, that kid would be going to college right now.
Yeah, he would no longer have to pay child support right now for that child. That is who we're possibly dealing with. Just a wild tale. Hopefully, we'll find out soon. Again, with the whole troll thing, I don't know. Obviously, if somebody just has a burner account and they make funny quips here or there, or they're trolling, whatever, not a big deal. But this guy is just a piece of garbage. It just the constant replies and everything. But we won't give him too much, hype or whatever. It's a funny story if that is the case. That's the man. Maybe one day we'll. I mean, I want to go back to Buffalo just to try the wing nuts, and we'll have to take a ride on the Misted Lady. So we'll.
We have to. I have to go to Buffalo one of these days.
Yeah, so we'll head to Buffalo either way, just to have fun and go visit the sites and everything.
Well, what we should do is see about when we go to Buffalo, pass through Cooperstown.
I'm down. We'll add it to
if Canada is open, maybe we should start looking at when we could get to Toronto.
I'm down to go to Toronto. We'll have to hit up Tim Hortons while we're up there. Buy some hockey cards if it's hockey card season. Yeah, the units. It's time to hit the road, Frank.
Yep, units on the road. I'm adding more states and states. I always want to see all 50 states, and I'm getting there.
Well, I think this trip will cover the East Coast, right?
Yep, this next trip will knock off the last 2 states I need to see in the East Coast.
There you go. So I'm excited. Who knows? Maybe I'll be in a different hotel next time you see me, or maybe I'll have found my apartment by then. That'd be pretty cool. But units are hitting the road. We're headed up to Boston next week, and that's Barstool.
Speaking of Boston, the Red Sox are kind of going into a Met style tailspin themselves lately.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Are we going to see them not make the playoffs?
Well, right now they wouldn't make the playoffs. It did. The Mets and the Red Sox could do the Spider-Man meme.
Oh really?
Yes.
I thought they were in better shape than that.
No, the Red Sox have had just as bad a second half as the Mets have.
Well, hand up. I don't watch the Red Sox that often. So I wasn't too sure about that. That's on me. Well, hey, I don't know. Hopefully the Mets go in and get a win. But then we'll be there with Carabas. So I'm Switzerland in that situation.
Yep.
But that's Barstool Units episode 34. I'm Coach Duggs. With me as always, Frank the Tank. Frank, please take us out.
Feeble as a team could be. We can load the bases, and we're not going to score a run. We're feeble for all the world to see. All we ever do is fail in the clutch. We will strike out or ground out into a double play. A run won't score. The game is lost. And I've never seen a team as feeble as this. I'm feeble as a team could be. Oh, boy. See you next week.
Click,
like, subscribe.
See you next time.